Hey guys, welcome to a new series of videos. As you guys can see, I have a new car. It is a Lexus IS 350, and in today's video I'll be showing you how to add this really cool OEM looking ambient lighting. Let's get right into it. So first things first, we're gonna align along this panel. For this, obviously you would need to remove the screen. You would need to pop this panel out. We're gonna run the wire behind this so it's not visible. We're gonna stick our line along the top of the line. You can do it under, but I thought that the top would look much better. Obviously, you might want to disassemble all of that as well while you're at it. There are some videos on how to do that. I'm doing that along with adding a CarPlay module over here. So I thought I'd kill two birds with one stone. So for this line, I'll be using the longest piece that there is in the kit. I'm gonna cut it to length, and I'm also gonna use this extension wire so that our connection can make its way to the main module. All right, so little change of plans. I didn't run it all the way through. I kind of ended a little bit over halfway, just because the closer I was getting to this tight corner, the weirder it was looking. But I think with the screen back on, this will still look pretty sick. And I actually ended up running the wires, like I split this line in half and I had to run the wires behind the screen, because if you run the whole line behind the screen simply won't come back in place. And with the wires like this, it actually works pretty well. I have the controller right over here. Didn't have to run the extension wires. I think I'm just gonna mount it like somewhere here. Like I'm gonna use the 3M tape, mount it there. It's not gonna be in the way of anything. I'm gonna run the footwells like somewhere here as well, so the wires reaches there. So I also went ahead and connected our connection wire. I have my positive and negative sticking out here. I'll make those connections later. For now, I'm just routing all the wires, making all of the connections and mountings. Now I'm gonna get to the footwell lights. All right, so I did run the footwells. I have it hanging around here with my positive and negative. I have one hanging out here at the back and two here at the front. Just kind of run them under these panels. This actually comes off to make it a little easier. I zip tied the hub, the main controller, taped it with a 3M tape to this plastic from the back, zip tied with some wires here so the controller is not going anywhere. All right, so the doors, I'm gonna start with the rear ones. They're removed pretty much the same as the front. You remove this cover and there's a Phillips screw here. There's two right here behind this cover and one right here. Just remove those and the door should pop out with some pry tools or some force. Shouldn't be too difficult. All right, so once the door card is off, I will add a line over here, and I do want to add a light in this little cubby area. Now I'm going to show you how. In order to add our line, we need to remove 3 screws over here and 2 screws over here so we can loosen up that gap and fit in our line way easily. As you can see, the line fits in really well without even gluing it. You could run it all the way back, but I prefer not to. I kind of like it this way. I'm gonna cut it to length and I'm gonna use our tape to hold it in place, and I'm gonna put the screws back in, and yeah, the line is done. If you do plan it to be the full length, it's actually perfect, almost perfect. Could be like 1-2 millimeters longer. I'm still gonna cut it. I feel like it should end right here, and it will be a perfect harmony with the cubby light here. Yeah, it's time to mount. So actually guys, I retract that statement. I do recommend to keep the full length of the strip, but cover the excess with some electrical tape or with some shrink tube. So this door has a shrink tube, this door has an electrical tape. Barely can tell the difference. I do recommend the shrink tube, but either way, do not cut it, because this looks way better, because it just looks like it is like a trim piece that belongs here. When you cut it, There's a large gap, it looks out of place, plus the light here kind of looks a little bit weird, so just do it this way instead. It does look a little out of place here, but no one's seeing that side of a door anyways. Everyone's gonna see it from this angle, and it looks perfect from this angle. All right, so after the line is mounted, I went ahead and I tested it using my spare main module, and it's looking pretty good. Now time for the cubby area. Remove the cubby area, we need to take out these 5 screws. This one, this one, this one, this one, and this one right here. And it should come out. Once you take out the cubby, it's gonna look something like this. And we're gonna drill a hole on the opposite side of the screws. So it's gonna be like invisible. Right over here is where I'm gonna drill it. Actually, one thing I do recommend to do is to sand this piece down because it doesn't distort the colors too well. You can see kind of the RGB mixing not too well, so it's a little better when it's sanded down. This is how your cubby looks like with the light. I'm going to put some hot glue here as well so it doesn't change its position or doesn't fall out. And yeah, it's ready to go back in the door. So the cubby area didn't really want to go back in, but I figured out the way to make it work. Basically, you had to trim this piece this much, as you can see the difference. And you actually had to cut out about the same difference in the glass part, and it fits after that. All right, so this is the final look of the cubby before it goes back in the door. As you can see, I put some hot glue here. It is shorter than it was. It actually fits now. It wasn't fitting the before. And yeah, let's see how it looks when it's in. All right, so this is a test with the cubby area. I think it complements the line above really well. And it will obviously look way better when the cover is back on. It looks smooth and nice. And yeah, the door is now done. Now we just have to repeat the same process for the other 3 doors. Before I put the door card back on, I'm gonna explain the wiring a little bit and the door. You're gonna get one of these sub-controllers where you're gonna plug in both of these lights. And then here you're gonna plug in your connection light or connection wire. And now I'm gonna explain you where you splice that in the car. Here's the plug for our sub module. Then we're gonna do a positive connection with our red wire over here, and then a ground, I put it right over here. That will give our door module a constant power. Now don't worry, it's not gonna be on all the time. It is only gonna be on when the main module is on, and I will show you how we wire the main module later on. Also, this color of the wire is going to be different on each door, which I will also show you right here. All right, guys, now that we did all our doors, I'm going to explain to you the main wiring harness. What I'm going to be using is this kind of relay for a switch. What it basically does is it takes the constant power but makes our lights turn on only when there's a trigger switch. And for the trigger switch, I'm actually making our headlights. And we are going to tap into the red wire of our shifter because that's what is responsible for the lighting here. Once you turn on the headlights, this turns on. And yeah, so basically the way it works, we have our red wire, which is a main power wire. As you can see, I tapped our add a fuse here, which is what I'm going to connect it to under our steering column. Then the blue wire, what was the blue wire? Blue wire is what's going to be a positive for our controller. The white wire is the ground for the relay, and the black wire is the trigger wire, which is the wire we're going to tap into the red wire here. After that, these lights are only gonna turn on with our headlights. I don't really like when they just turn on with the ignition. Not a fan of that. We're gonna do it with the headlights. And here's how it works. So if I turn off the headlights, everything's off. Turn them on, it turns on. And that's how it should be for that OEM Plus feel. Here it is, guys. I think that is looking pretty good. I still have to do all the footwell lights here, and I might do a few tweaks here, but it's looking pretty good so far. I am really happy with how this is turning out to be, and especially with me being able to wire it with the headlights. That is looking amazing, just how I wanted it to be. Yeah, let's do our footwells, let's do our final tweaks, and I'll see you for the night test. So before we proceed, I will show you where I mounted the footwell lights. Now, because I have my lights mounted to the headlights, they will turn on as soon as I open the door. When it's dark, and I have the lights set to auto, so I don't have a need for the original welcome lights, those ugly yellow ones. And with that said, I did mount it right where the original light was. Let me turn it on for you just so you can see. There we go. It looks really good over here, and you know, OEM standards, doesn't look like anything was added. Let me turn it off so it doesn't beep anymore. Yeah, I did the same thing on the other side, just because if you do stick it on that panel, it kind of bulges out and you can see it and doesn't look good, and the OEM slot is hidden. It's looking really good, and the light is diffused. Really nice. The back ones I'll show you in a bit. Haven't mounted those yet. Now for the rear seats, I couldn't find like a perfect spot, especially since I have a underseat sub. I feel like that's gonna be in the way, but it'll do for now anyways, until I figure out. I was kind of thinking maybe run it under here, that would be nice, but for now it's gonna be like that. The wires I didn't run properly yet. Also, what you might want to do is remove this plastic cover, both of them, and just run the wire under the seat railing. I haven't done that yet just because I'm so done with this project now. I've been working on it for like 5 days straight. So yeah, this is how you do the back seats. So I did do some final tweaks on this side. I did make it a little bit longer than it was before. I think that looks really well and matches with how the doors are. Makes it look really OEM plus. One of the reasons why I had it wired to the headlights is so that I have it serve me as a welcome light as well. As you can see, I open the doors and everything lights up as if it is the welcome light. Now let's proceed to the night shots, because this thing looks amazing. So as you guys can see here, I did really accomplish that OEM Plus look as much as possible. Everything looks exactly how it probably would have come from factory, and that's actually the kind of compliments that I have received on it so far. People that had sat in my car thought that this came from factory, so I would call that mission accomplished. I would recommend for you to do this the exact same way. not all the way across the door and not all the way across that panel, and just maybe how it was in other guys' videos over the glove compartment. Not liking that. This looks way cleaner, way more OEM looking, and yeah, I feel like mission is indeed accomplished. So thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next video.